had a suspicion it might be one. I take back what I said. Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. Insert joke here, I can't think of anything. If you're new here, my name's Ash. I'm 27, I'm a cybersecurity enthusiast with 4+ years experience in the industry. And on this channel, we play Capture the Flags, we learn all things cybersecurity and hacking, and we learn together. On today's video, we are going over day 5 of the tryhackme Advent of Cyber 2022 event that's live. For more details, you'll have a playlist linked, timestamps below, and anything else you need will be in the description. Okay, let's get started. Okay, I'm on tryhackme.com. Make sure you're signed in and you're on the room page, Advent of Cyber 4 or 2022. I'm just admiring all the days that I've done semi-consistently. So let's get started on day 5 or task 10, brute forcing. As always, we have a daily walkthrough by somebody who's much more equipped to be making videos than I. So go over and watch that or stick around. It's your choice. I'm not the boss of you. So the goal today is to find possibly some sort of back door that the adversaries are using to get into the network. So that means we're going to be going over some remote access services, one of them being VNC, so we'll be looking at the port and how to recognize something listening. We'll also be using some tool to find the server's password, and then we're going to be connecting over VNC to the server via a VNC client. All right, remote access services. So if you've ever controlled a computer without the mouse and keyboard directly plugged into it, you are using some sort of remote access service. But there's a few main ones. So we have SSH, which you might be familiar with by using tryhackme, RDP, which stands for Remote Desktop Protocol, or VNC, which stands for Virtual Network Computing. So as mentioned, SSH or Secure Shell, initially used in Linux-like systems for remote logins, and over a command line interface. And again, RDP, also known as Remote Desktop Connection or simply Remote Desktop, provides a graphical user interface. And this is commonly found on Microsoft Windows systems. Or as mentioned, VNC, Virtual Network Computing, also graphical interface provided, giving control over the mouse and keyboard as an option. And this can be found on most major operating systems. Actually, I think the first time I used VNC was to get access to a Raspberry Pi. So just as a user, you can think about what your needs are to what remote access service that you want to use. But for security purposes, we want to think about how we can provide our identity to a remote server to have a secure connection. So that brings us to a next point, authentication. So the process of validating an identity to gain access to a system. So like having a username or a unique identity, that unique identity needs to be provided to gain any access. So the process usually covers something you know, i.e. like a password or a PIN, something you have, like hardware or software, a security token, a mobile phone, a key file, or something you are, referring to like biometrics, like opening with your fingerprint on a phone or retina scanner. But generally speaking, today's world is around passwords or private key files. But who knows, maybe in the not too distant future, we will have a passwordless world. We'll see. But for right now, passwords are prone to myriads of attacks, and that's what we'll be looking at in attacking passwords. So passwords have a lot of attack vectors. Some attack vectors don't require that much technical skill, such as like shoulder surfing, which is just looking over someone's shoulder to see what the password is, or just simply guessing. But some other attacks are going to be used automated tools. So as mentioned, shoulder surfing, so peeking over someone's knowledge, password guessing, so using some personal details, names of family members, that sort of thing. All those automated ways like a dictionary attack. So having like a long word list or a dictionary and just going one after the other, or a brute force attack, which is more exhaustive or time consuming, where the attacker can try all possible character and combinations. So we're going to be focusing on a dictionary attack. So there's a infamous password list of like the most commonly used passwords called RockU. There's actually like a Darknet Diaries episode all about it. Yeah, if you go look up episode 33 of Darknet Diaries, the whole story, RockU, it's fascinating. So in the AttackBox, or if you've got a distro like Kali Linux, you can find the word list in this location. So this word list contains 14 million unique passwords, and even the top 5%, still more than 500,000. Can't just be sitting there one by one, just going over each password. Crazy amount of time. So that brings us to hacking an authentication service. So you can choose to start your AttackBox, but I'm going to be using a local VM and I'm going to connect over the VPN. So first things first, let's go back up to the top and hit start machine. Once your machine is booted, we can go and get that IP. On our virtual machine, let's just make sure that we are connected to the VPN. So run sudo open VPN and go and find that VPN config file. Great, we're connected and we'll just ping our IP, make sure that is working. Okay, so our first instruction here is to scan using our Nmap tool. So we've already covered scanning in this series, which is great. So we can go ahead and run sudo nmap against our IP there. Great, so 4 seconds later, we've got our scan completed. So we've got an SSH and we've got a VNC service running. So we can confirm that that's definitely right by looking at our included information. So we're gonna be using a tool called Hydra. If you've gone through some of the earlier tryhackme rooms, you've probably come across this tool before. In fact, there is a link there to the room dedicated to Hydra. So go check that out if you want to. And we can see here we've got sort of our breakdown of how to go about this tool. So let's just confirm that we've got it installed. So I can see mine's gone green. So we've got Hydra, great. So -L specifies the username or login that we want to use. Then -P is for the word list that we want to use. And remember from earlier, that was our ROCU. Then we have our server that we want to use, which is going to be the IP of our machine. And then the service that we want to use, which would be SSH or VNC. Great, so we have an example that we can go and punch in. I'm going to be targeting SSH. So they've actually provided us with the username, which alleviates the pressure of trying to search around and find that username ourselves. So that's great. And just a little note here, we can go SSH :// and then the IP address, which is equivalent to just including the IP or SSH at the end. So I've already got that, so I'm just going to leave it. And we can see here you can replace SSH with any other protocol name such as RDP, VNC, FTP, or POP3, or any other protocols supported by Hydra. And we've got some extra optional arguments, so -V and -V uppercase V for verbose, and that's actually going to show us the output. So personally, I really like this. I like visuals. I want to see what's going on. D for debugging, giving us more detailed information. I have actually never used this one, so I'm going to throw that in there, see what we get. I've had frustrations, life. So yeah, less frustrations, cool. Okay, let's hit enter and see what we get. So we can see as that scan's going down, we have attempts, we have completed, we have debug. So it's a lot of information. I'm not sure how I feel about the -D debug. I feel like it's a little bit too much at the moment, but it's just something new to get used to. Okay, so we can go ahead and hit Control-C on our keyboards to stop that. I'm gonna then go Control-L to clear the terminal. I'm gonna hit up so we can get our last command. I'm going to change this username to Alexander. So Mark was just an example for us to try. Let's go ahead and I'm actually just going to remove the D. Cool. So we just only see the attempts now without that extra debugging information. It's a little clearer to see what is going on. But I guess in case anything goes wrong, that debugging information would be useful. So we can see as this goes along, we can see the amount of passwords that it has to go through. And then we can see what number we're up to. Cool, so Hydra is quite nice because it'll actually stop and highlight the password for us. So we can see here in our instructions that it is telling us what the password's going to be and where it is. But it's nice the fact that we found it ourselves too. So taking notes, I should definitely copy and paste this over into a secure location. Always good to take notes. And there's a good point here about how things would take a lot longer. So even if they are using a password on this list, it might not be the 114th. It might be the 500,014th password. In that case, it's just going to take a lot longer to get to that part of the list. So this brings us to the next part, connecting to a VNC server. So there's a lot of different clients to connect to a VNC server. There's one we've got called Remina. It doesn't look like it's included in Kali. So let's just try and find it. Go sudo apt install remina. Yes. I'm just going to quickly update my system. Okay, cool. What felt like a lifetime after I updated and upgraded. Let's try and install this tool now. And it looks like it's working. Cool. So if we go to our menu, we can look that up and we've got it now. We need to select the VNC protocol and paste in our IP address that we're connecting to. And it's asking us for a prompt of passwords. So that's the password that we found earlier. So let's paste that in there. Wait, what am I talking about? No, it's not. That was for SSH. Do we need to run this again for VNC? I think that's our task. So let's go on to the questions and see how we go. So our first task, use Hydra to find the VNC password of the target with IP address. Your IP will differ. What's the password? Okay, I'm just up arrow. So I'm going to assume that the username is still going to be Alexander, and I'm going to assume that all we have to do is change over the protocol to VNC. Looks like we had a warning here. You should set the number of parallel tasks to 4 for VNC services. So what I think this is talking about is how many times it's connecting to VNC, or how many tasks, how many like tries it has. So I'm pretty sure we can use the -T for tasks and set that to 4. Let's try that. So it looks like it did get rid of that warning, but we still have this error. And it says that these modules, including VNC, are only using the -P or uppercase P option, not login. Okay, so we can get rid of this login and we'll go ahead and try that. Okay, cool. So we have a working, and I can see every 4 times it says that the server banner is something. So I don't know what's up with that, but we can see here it's trying 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So I guess that's that task flag that we used. Now it's like 1, 2, 3. I think that's what tasks is. So I'm just gonna let this run, and hopefully we get a successful hit. So I'm around the 1,000 mark of passwords tried, and figured out how to make a dark mode on tryhackme's website, so that's cool. This is taking a long time. Seriously considering going to the beach. I'm gonna go to the beach, go for a swim, and then hopefully this is done. Or do I wait? Can I guess? I think, because I've got this far, I think that the number, the line of the password will be 1337. I had a suspicion it might be one. I take back what I said. Damn it. All right, well, we found it, so that's good. Fine, I'm going to the beach after this though. Okay, so let's go paste in our password. Awesome. Now let's go and connect. And for the next one, it says, what is the flag written on the target screen? And I just want to copy paste. Awesome, sweet. So that does us for day 5 of Advent of Cyber 2022. Thank you so much for checking in with me and watching this video through to the end. I really appreciate you getting all this way. Feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't, and ding that bell for some reason. Otherwise, I'm gonna let the YouTube gods suggest a video for you to watch. So be nice and obey them and watch the video. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, I'm going to the beach. Oh, I still gotta edit this, but yeah, no, I'm going.